Hello there, everybody. Well, it says that it's live, so I'm going to assume that that is the case, but that could be just in another dimension. How is everybody? Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, moderators. Um, so glad to have you, and let me just invoke favor upon all of us. Man, we need it. Nothing missing, nothing broken be in our lives or among us. Yeah. So that overwhelming type of favor. So how's it going, folks? Yeah, it's showtime. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Robert V, Twisted Isby, Dragon Soul, Fox Lust in space. How are you? Spirit Girl, San Francisco. Hello, B3, good to see you. Blanca, hello. John Price, good to see you as well. Eye of the Maelstrom. Peace. Wow, that's a real glitch in the old matrix. Hello, Nina the Mystic. How are you doing? Kimberly, Bree, good to see you. Pure Love Ascension, hello. Nicholas, Chloe, good to see you. Rod, hello. DW, good to see you as well. So, how's it going? Getting weird out there. It's always weird, but may we live in interesting times, and I do believe we have. Hey, happy birthday, Trina. Yep, you know, our Trina is another year around the sun. And happy birthday to all the rest of you who are having birthdays and anniversaries. Um, Part of the human experience. You know? But I can say, as you chronologically, as you age here on Earth, you find out that birthdays can be one of two things. They can either be a reminder or they can be that renewal of celebration. Choose it however you want. So, hello, Stephen Jacobs. How you doing? David Castle and Michael Allen. Good to see you. David Barry. So, 53 hours straight working on videos. Holy cow, Batman. That is a lot of. You need the REM sleep, brother. I'm telling you, you really do. So, don't. Hello, Moonlight Herbalist. How you doing? And Big Al. I think you're what? You're in Arizona or heading to Tracy, California. Know that place well. So let's see. So just what else is going on? Grandpa Brian, hello. So love the topic. Demon possession. Is it real? Is it faked? Is it a sign of psychosis? Um, if demons exist, now the word demon is taken from divine ones. All right. So you can already see how it's getting mixed up. But, demons really have played a role throughout all man's existence. We fear that which we cannot see. That's why death is always that thing. We know that this existence is going to end. And if there is a reincarnating of souls, it's amazing how we don't remember. Trina and I were talking yesterday. We probably do this as a game. Think about it. It's the ultimate game there is. You go into it knowing ahead of time, but then you purposely get yourself wiped. Is that how it is? I don't know. Um, we'll find out, that's for sure. I think we all can have an opinion and project that out. When the topic of demonology comes up, it's so often framed within a religious, not so much spiritual um, connotation. It's, in fact, I would probably say this and wouldn't be, I don't think that grievous, that I don't think demon possession has anything to do with spirituality. I don't. It can't. You know, spirituality, if it's spirituality is about the road to ascension, then it gets really messed up. And if you investigate it, and we are, we're going to kind of take it from two different, maybe three different perspectives on this. Um, in my reference library, this is the Old Testament, the Pseudo Apocrypha. This is every book that has been written that the Council of Nicene took out. What if most people would realize what today what Hollywood is built upon it, what our genre has built upon it, the cultural significances of our existence have been built upon it, been primarily built from this. Now, this is a good book. I would recommend if you can get this one. It's John Sweeney's Inventing Hell. And this is a good read if you're into the subject and you really want to have clarity on it. You'll never be afraid of anything called a demon again, because you'll realize that in the context that we know of it today, it is basically made up as a control system to reinforce the duality. And as a result of that, many people live their lives in fear on this, and they find it almost where they can't live without it. There is a certain part of us that loves to be scared. That's why horror flicks do so well. You know, we love being scared. It raises that primal, you know, fight or flight. Reminds us of the days when our ancestors were hunted as food, still are to a degree. So really, if you're into it and you really want to get some freedom into this, this is really a great book. It explains it so succinctly. And what it will show you as well is that how easily we are indoctrinated. We have a herd mentality of our species. That's what makes fashion trends. That's what trends are all about. Why? It's the herd mentality. Well, everybody is going over here. And in the metaphysical community, the truther community, it's all the same. You know, it doesn't change. So my experience with demonic situations, when I was a practicing Christian, and I am no longer, I renounced that faith and all the gods of this world. But the point is, it's a heavy part of the belief system. Everything that's wrong in the world is because of Satan, the devil. And you know, when I finally broke free of that, it's amazing how so many give so much acknowledgement to a powerful creature. I mean, it would be mightier than God because it's all the devil's fault. It's all Satan. But when you realize that's all made up, there's no validation to it at all. None. Modern day culture, Satan has been made into a personification that never existed. It still doesn't, but only what we have created. So if we get into this story, we got to begin to get some understanding. What are they if they exist? Now, I have personally experienced what I would call someone who wasn't in their right mind. There was something else there. I have seen, I'll just tell you a straight up fact happened, was documented in a former time, long, long ago. I was there and was with a group, and long story short, we were there counseling this couple. And this is 40 years ago, maybe, yeah. His partner, she was there, and then she got up and left the room. And talking with him, and 5 minutes led into 10 minutes, and I finally said, wait, where is your partner at? And about that time, we were sitting in a row house. And you know how row houses are. You can sit in like the front room and you can see down the hallway. And about that time, the bathroom door opened, flung open, and this woman's body fell out. Well, it was his partner. Um, don't know if they were married or not, but and what she had done was that she had gone in there attempting to commit suicide. In fact, if what hadn't happened in the sequence of events, she probably would have died. Um, she had cut both main arteries, and the blood was pumping out there. I mean, it was pumping a good 6, 7 feet with each heartbeat. And it was odd because she was speaking in a different language. I know what tongues is, but hers was a different one. It was something instinctively fearful about it. And we literally had to cast that thing out. And I laid hands on her and watched the wounds heal, literally. There was another time I used to do a lot of street preaching, and had a guy come up, and the partner that I was with, um, he was drawing what I now know would be considered sigils, symbols, and uttering in a different language. And what he did, he grabbed my partner's hand and started drawing on there. Well, I could actually see what he was drawing. I didn't know what it was, but I knew instinctively that he was trying to mark David on this. And so, of course, I immediately rebuked him. And then the strangest thing, that he got down at all fours and literally started, it was weird. I mean, literally started howling. And yeah, now, um, he wouldn't stay around. He literally ran away on all fours. It was the strangest thing. So, is was that person mentally ill? I don't know. I don't know what normal means. When someone tells me, "Well, you're not normal," and I say, "Well, define normal." Because normal is really the most bigoted term you could use. Because what normal is, when you're saying to another person, well, you're not normal, is that what it is that you're not like everybody else. Oh, really? Okay. That's not a bigoted statement if I ever heard one. And so, but no, the language that in both cases, I speak in tongues. I mean, it's a language to me. It's something I've been doing for, you know, 40 plus years. This was something that was almost truly foreign, not human. So, having said all that, let's get into the study, because I think you're going to enjoy this. It's one that, as we wait, it's like, come on, man, would you get on with the program? Uh, so we sit there and do the Jeopardy thing, right? The doot doot doot. Okay, let me see if I can get this to disappear on me. Doot 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 doot. Let's do that, and then doot 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 doot. Give me 1 second. Hide. There we go. There we go. All right. The battle for hell and heaven has been fought and won long ago. The battle for men is a war ongoing. Man does not know who the victor is, nor does man know who the enemy is. I wrote that back in 2018. So if we begin to look at this, there we go. So, do demons really exist? That's the question. And it's one that's controversial. It depends if you have a religious belief, if you have a secular belief, a humanistic belief. But the question I think that has to be asked of all Homo sapiens is this: are demons, if they're real, and let's just take for the predication on the argument right now that we're going to assume that they are they human? And the implication is, if they're human, then why do we fear them? What makes them any different than us? Well, I'll kick their ass. Are they alien? Now, that brings a whole different perspective to the equation. Because if they're alien, then all that can be said is one of two things. Either we invaded this planet or they invaded this planet. And this planet is being occupied by more than one particular species. So are these, I mean, listen, the cameras have documented a phenomenon. You cannot deny it. There is a phenomenon. This is probably one of the more famous ones. I think this took place back in the 20th century. You'll see a lot of demonic activity in monasteries, other enclaves like that. And then that brings up the question, well, now, wait a minute. Are they religious? I mean, you think about this. Well, religion's been around, lots of religions. Christianity is a new kid on the block. I mean, as long as man has been around, we invent religions. And then the next question I had to ask is that, well, excuse me, then what religion are they? And if they are a religion, then when did they convert? How'd they convert? I mean, is there some cluster on the other side that has a sign like Beetlejuice? Come on in and get born again. I mean, seriously, how does this work? And, how long has it been working? And do they add new religions to the menu? For all you hanger-oners, we've got a new one coming in, make sure you join in. So, yeah. And then you got to ask, well, now, wait a minute. Let's say that they maybe are both. Then the question is our species in the middle of a cosmic war? I mean, seriously, folks, before we came in butt-ass naked into this world, there apparently was this freaking war going on. So how in the hell can we have any position in it? Or did Homo sapiens imagine this into creation? I think that may be one of the biggest secrets, that everything that we see, everything that we encounter, everything that we experience is made of us. We create it. Y'all know Sigmund. Sigmund said this, I love this. Demons do not exist any more than gods do, being only the products of the psychic activity of man. Well, that would kind of lend itself in a Freudian way that we create these creatures. So let's look at our options here. A, they're a spirit. B, they go along the avenue of a fallen angel. 3, they're alien. 4, they're human. Then that would then imply that there's somehow this living, sentient life form like the Nephilim. If they're ET, then this is an occupation or an invasion. Now, the one thing we're going to get into a little bit more, maybe in fact, they're interdimensional life forms. Or they could be parasitic life forms. A virus, a form of life. And you're going to learn this is a living fact. Or it could be mental illness, a psychosis. Many attribute that this is what it is most of the time. And then you've got the unknown. Something maybe we haven't even figured out yet. So if we go along the avenue of the fallen angels, this is where the pseudo-apocrypha comes in, because you can read a lot of these old books. I've done the story on the Book of Adam and Eve. The one with Lamech. We did another one on King Og. This would fall under the fallen angels. And we've read the story, the King Og, Lamech, the story of Adam and Eve, it's all in the archives, which I think this makes number 1,300, the 1,300th video today. So thank you for tuning in on that one. But it would seem like it's the wildest story of them all, but then again, maybe not. Is this really an epic war still going on of an alien species, non-homo, homo meaning man? I mean, think about this. We're talking about creatures that have, in all descriptions, would be considered superheroes or super bipedals. I'll just use that word. We know that there was a species here at once that lived here, folks. They actually had wings. Stories abound if you read the stories that haven't been censored. So reading out of the Book of Enoch, it says, "And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters." In other words, they were hot chicks. "And the angels, the children of the heaven." You got to really read what they're saying here. So these creatures, because they're not men, they're called children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them. I often wondered, did they really get an erection? I mean, is this what they were really about? Because then that implies that there's sex in the afterlife, that there is sex in the heavens. Oh, they didn't teach you that in Sunday school, did they? Because how can you lust after them? I mean, think about it. Lust is an emotion, a passion, sexual. In the original books of the story, it said that the serpent beguiled the woman. That word beguiled could be used here. It means to totally seduce sexually. And then they had this conversation. So I don't know if they're drinking beers, passing a joint or what, but they said to one another, "Come on, let us choose us wives from among the children of men and beget us children." Now this leads into a whole thing. Well, now wait a minute. So is there marriage in this realm? You can't deny. Why would they use or reference the word wives? And then so much to begin to actually have coitus with them. And Simjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, "I fear you will not indeed agree to this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin." If you step back, it shows that they are in a place that's already corrupted. There's no holiness in this place. It can't exist. Think about it. And this is where they have played upon the point that sex and sin are synonymous. Remember, in the Book of Adam and Eve, it was Lucifer that had to basically teach Adam what it was to have sex. And then Adam looked back at Lucifer and said, "But why would I want to have sex with myself?" Speaking of Eve. Yeah, you ought to go back in the archives. It's quite interesting. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual and precautions not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then they swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual and precautions upon it. In other words, they made an oath. In fact, in some breaking down of this, it would be equivalent to a blood oath. Blood oaths you don't break. And I grew up in a time where we actually had blood brothers, and it was quite common amongst children. We knew what that meant. And they were all in all 200 who descended in those days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon. Now, this Mount Hermon plays a significant role throughout the Abrahamic religions, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual covenant upon it. They give the names of these angels, their leaders: Shemzaja, Akraba, Ramiel, Kobael, Timiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barjagel, Azrael, Armaris, Bataril, Ananaril, Zagariel, Samzifil, Satarel, Terel, Jomagel, and Sarel. Now, it's interesting because when you see the EL in the back of their names, they are actually part of the archangels. In Jewish belief, Gabriel, Michael, the rest of the Raphael, the EL is the name of God that's in them. So the EL represents that these particular angels were of the archangel class. So now it becomes almost like we're almost prey. Men can't fly. Men can't jump dimensions. These creatures can. But the interesting thing about these creatures is that they also die. Yeah. They fear death just as man fears death. It has been said that Lucifer, not Satan, even Lucifer is a made-up name, but for the context of the story, we're going to keep with it. They are shapeshifters, non-Homo sapiens. Gets into what we were discussing yesterday on a second look. And all the others together with them took upon themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in into them. In other words, they were getting it on, and to defile themselves with them. So here is that, apparently you defile yourself if, you get into the coitus thing. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. Now, this really you can't teach someone about something if it's not what we would call germane to you. So obviously in this realm, I won't call it heaven because it's not really heaven. It is another realm that actually sits on top of this realm, apparently. There they eat. There they have magic. That's what charms are. They're spells, enchantments, the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants, hallucinogenics, healing, all different types. Really? What a place this must be. and they became pregnant, the women, and they bare great giants whose heights was 3,000 ells. Now, this literally equates to 4,500 feet. So I don't know what happened at the moment that genetic mutation hit this atmosphere, etc., but that's what it, and it's also in many other versions of the book of Enoch. It goes on, who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. Well, we read about this in King Og's book. Humans served the giants as food, and they began to sin against birds. Now, here's what literally they're doing. They're having sex with birds, beasts, and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and to drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusations against the lawless ones. It implies that if they could mix their DNA with humans, it seemed they have the same ability to mix their DNA with the other beast, the animal kingdom. So now this becomes not just a galactic battle, but if they brought this battle to here, then it would imply that the battle is raging over there. You don't hear that being taught, do you? It can't be just fought in this corporeal plane. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of earth and the art of working them, the bracelets, the ornaments, and the use of autonomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. So now, if the saying as above, so below, this tells me that there is one freaking battle taking place still. And apparently it's not as advanced as we think it is in technology. Maybe, I don't know. And there arose much godliness. Now, of course, this is written in the Abrahamic point of view. They committed fornication. Well, really? And they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Zimzavza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Amoros, the resolving of enchantments. Gajal, taught astrology. Kokabal, the constellations. So they were obviously very versed with traveling amongst, dare I dare say, the galaxies. Shamsel, the signs of the sun, and Sarael, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went on up to heaven. Well, so obviously they're not of our genome. They're bipedals. They're not spirit forms. Spirit forms have no form. So what are they? It is said that when an angel dies, it becomes a demon. Really? Is that how that works? Lilith had a little different spin on this story. So are they gods or are they invaders? That's what I contend. If they kill humans, which the records show, the Bible, the Quran, I mean, I just go right on down the whole list, the Tumah, the Torah, these beings kill humans. They have blood on their hands. If they kill us, then that makes them our enemy. It's amazing how I see people worshiping the archangel Michael and Gabriel. They're worshiping murdering entities. They have blood on their hands, our blood, and who knows how many other species. Now, here's what this Lord of Lords, which is Baal, Lord means Baal, God of gods, King of kings. Anyway, this is what this cat has to say. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitants cries. Look at that. The earth made without inhabitants. There were no inhabitants here for the longest time. Their cries and the voice of their crying up to the gate of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men, here's that word souls, making their, basically, it's their indictment, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. The question ahead is, I even asked this in Bible school, was that, well, where the hell, I didn't say hell, but where was God at? It seems like this dude is absent. And they had to go up to him and they said, the Lord of the ages, this is very interesting, you break this out, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, the God of the ages, the throne of your glory, standeth through all the generations, and blah, 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 blah. But he goes on to say, thou hast made all things. Well, if you've made all things, then you're responsible for all things. The power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide from itself from thee. So right here, the indictment's back on this cat. If you've made everything, then put the big boy britches on and take responsibility. And it goes on to say that thou seest Azel what he has done, who has taught all unrighteousness on earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven. Isn't this interesting? I take things literally, and so that means they keep secrets from us. But apparently, these 200 brought those secrets, and apparently they didn't know all the secrets, which man were striving to learn. Of course, Satan, is a made-up name. Satan is now distracting mankind and revealing many secrets of the earth, so he does not seek salvation in these last days. But wait a minute. I didn't see Satan's name. That is added commentary. The original version of this, there is no Satan. Again, Satan is a Latin word. How do you have this in an ancient Hebraic text? And Shemzaza, to whom you have given authority to bear rule over his associates. So this Shemzaza was a pretty high cat. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth and have slept with the women and have defiled themselves and revealed to them all kinds of sins. Well, wait a minute. I thought there was this story in the garden where some cat took a bite of some fruit and that's where it came in. Apparently not. Now, these angels go on to say to this Lord of Lords, and the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying. So it clearly says that there's this afterlife, the souls, and making their case to the gates of heaven. And it says that you know all things before they come to pass. You have seen things, and you have suffered them, and thou dost not say to us what we are to do with them in regard to these. It clearly shows that there is this entire situation. Now, why am I spending so much time on this? Because It is, if you believe it to be correct, either their species went extinct or they're still here. Now it goes on to say, listen to what God, Jehovah, said. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against these bastards and these reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle for lengths of days, shall they not? Now, we actually read that story in King Og's story. And no request that they or their fathers make to you shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live an eternal life, and each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, go bind Shemjaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with them and all their uncleanness. You see, this is a weird story. It's not about a story about a flood. We're talking about life forms that lived apparently in a sense of the word that we live in this corporeal bodies, in this temporal plane of existence. And it goes on to say how they slayed them, and when they died, they became demons. So how this with the creation of Homo sapiens goes on. And then, of course, because of the time element here, you find out that these watchers, these fallen, let's just call them aliens. They can't be humans. They're aliens. They have a different way of thinking that they've tried to basically force mankind to accept. Mankind was never in this mindset. This is a plane of existence where there are laws that they made that they're trying to superimpose upon us. Maybe that's why we have always been at war. And Enoch basically takes them down into this pit and literally encases them into the stone with their faces embedded in the stone. They're alive, but they cannot see. They only see darkness. So the question really becomes, are they angels? Are they aliens? Are they imagined? Because you can imagine what happens there. So now, these, apparently the bad ones are apparently, infused into the rock of earth. But what the world do we do with the rest of them? So what is spirit possession? Actually, you can say that we are spirit possession. Spirit possession is a term for the belief that, remember this, animus, demons, extraterrestrial, gods, or spirits can take control of a human body. Do we not each control our own bodies? The concept of spirit possession exists in many religions, including Christianity, Buddhism, Haitianism, Vodou, Wicca, Hinduism, Islam, Southeast Asian, and African traditions. In a 1969 study founded by the National Institute of Mental Health, spirit possession beliefs were found to exist in 74% of a sample of 488 societies in all parts of the world. Depending on the cultural context in which it is found, possession may be considered voluntarily or involuntary and may be considered to have beneficial or detrimental effects on the host. Within possession cults, the belief that one is possessed by spirits is more common among women than men. Many say that channeling is really a form of possession. So we know what the possession is. So demonic possession. Demonic possession is believed to be the process by which individuals are possessed by malevolent, pre-natural beings, commonly referred to as demons or devils. Obsession and possession of the devil are placed in the rank of apparitions of the evil spirit among humans. It is obsession when the demon acts externally against the person whom it besets, and possession when he acts eternally, agitates them, excites their ill humor, makes them utter blasphemy, speak tongues they have never learned, discovered to them unknown secrets, and inspires them with the knowledge of the obscurest things in philosophy and theology. Many songs, many famous artists have said that they have received songs, books, ideas from something other than themselves. Technically, that's a form of co-possession. Can you actually willingly let another spirit come in and the two of you coexist into the same body? Sure, you're occupying that body. If someone is stronger than you, spiritually speaking, of a life force, yeah, they can literally boot your ass out. Description of demonic possessions often include erased memories or personalities, convulsions, epileptic seizures or fits, and fainting as if one were dying. Other descriptions include access to hidden knowledge or foreign languages, drastic changes in vocal intonation and facial structure, and sudden appearance of injuries, scratches, bite marks, or lesions, and superhuman strength. Unlike in channeling, the subject has no control over possessing entity, and so it will persist until forced to leave the victim, usually through a form of exorcism. Well, now, if you take this and you take this outside of a religious context, this seems like these golems, these bodies, are highly desired. Apparently, the pleasure of the five senses is something highly desirable and lusted after in the spirit realm. Many cultures and religions contain some concept of demonic possession, but the details vary considerably. The oldest reference to demonic possession are from the Sumerians, who believed that all diseases of the body and mind were caused by sickness demons. Lilith names those demons, called them Giddims or Giddim. The priests who practiced exorcisms in these nations were called sorcerers, as opposed to the Asura, the physician, who applied bandages and salves. Many cuneiform clay tablets contain prayers to certain gods asking for protection from demons, while others ask the gods to expel the demons that have invaded their bodies. So Christianity, Islam, Hinduism weren't the first to pick up on this. Shamanic cultures also believe in demon possession, and shamans perform exorcisms. In these cultures, diseases are often attributed to the presence of vengeful spirits, or loosely termed demon, in the body of the patient. These spirits are more often, the specters of animals or people wronged by the bearer. The exorcism rites usually consisting of respectful offering and sacrificial offerings. And it brings up the whole expansion of one's awareness that it's not just us and it's not just a single God, who is some male asshole sitting on some throne. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a much more crowded reality. Many of them. Christianity holds that possession derives from the devil, i.e., Satan, or one of his lesser demons. In Christianity, Satan and his demons are actually the fallen angels. That is ludicrous. But who am I? But I fell for it myself. And you can see how this religion, they're plagiarizers. They don't have anything original. And then when you add the ignorance to what Catholicism and then Protestantism did to this, all it is a control matrix. None of these things exist, but you make them real. Why? Well, because if you look at some of this, it may be in fact there is evidence that at least a version of this did in fact happen. So what's going on here? We all know about the exorcism of Emily Rose, famous story. They made a movie of it. This woman was truly possessed with something. Was this a mental illness of hers? I don't know. If the body can crack itself, can break bones, and then heal bones in almost instantaneously, then explain to me how that is done. I'd like to know. But this woman did experience multiple personalities. Things were said that of a knowledge that was not known. We know that many possessed people have black eyes. They have the ability to begin to change facial structure, bones literally expanding, crushing. What is this? We have seen possession of people more and more. They, in fact, just recently, the Vatican, I think it's about 3 months ago, put out the call that they needed to train millions of exorcists because the world was experiencing unprecedented demonic possession. People were now being visited in the dreams at night. Things were happening, sexual incidences of night, of unseen beings, hands approaching on male and female, and the spouses witnessing such events. But how they react to a symbol is another question. Is that part of the individual's inner belief that when that symbol is brought, that they actually, the person who originally possessed the body is clinging to that? And does that give that person the life force to exit the demon? It's hard to say. Is it a succubus? Is it an incubus? Is Lilith responsible for this? This is what the church has tried to say. These demons have to come from somewhere, and they never explain exactly how they come. And if they're feeding upon us, then I'm telling you, they're not human. This is an alien invasion. So what do we do with this? How do we react to it? Are we harassed by life forms that are non-human? Does transformation take place? It's hard to say. It could be said that, it's all negative. But I'm telling you what, I don't know. You can't tell me that because you define evil one particular way, that is universal. It's the problem when you start defining this. But nevertheless, something is happening to people. Is this psychosomatic? I don't know. Again, the acts that happen by this, and the stories are full of it. And when we get together, it's really interesting, whether you're using a Ouija board, other types of things where you're conjuring spirits. What is happening here? Are these human spirits? Or if they're not, then what are we? But what we do know, living life forces are highly desirable. I don't think that this is merely in the mind. But if it is, then the mind is a vast creator. So are demons religious? Do they have different beliefs? Are some Catholic, Baptist? Are they bilingual? Are they only Christians? Or could it be maybe something we haven't even considered? What if this is a parasitic life form that actually lives and thrives in the human brain? Would that qualify as ET? Did God create them? Are these the gods? Is this God our creator? Angels, aliens, or demons? What are they? Maybe they're ghosts. Then you have to ask your question, well, is there life after death? And it would be yes. This is the eventual home for all of us, it would seem. But what's happening? Particularly in the last decade or so, we're seeing now apparitions of what we would call ghost human people manifesting. This is becoming a dilemma. What's the difference between a ghost, poltergeist, or demon? Is there a difference? We're seeing them. Do spirits age? Many ghosts are seen of babies, small children, and they don't only come out at night. More ghosts are being filmed in the daytime. And we're now being able, with the technology, finding out recent partners, married couples, married for decades. One partner leaves, they're not actually gone. Or do we torment ourselves in the afterlife? Or do we just stay here? They're there. Is this a demon? Is this a ghost? Is that a departed soul? Maybe Homo sapiens have not mastered their imagination. Our abilities are ahead of our understanding. We've become lost in our imaginations. Our creations are now creating. One thing I do know is that Homo sapiens are divine. Or is this nothing more than a living parasite, a sentient life form in our brains? Think about it. These all live in our brains. So, yeah, I'll just let it stop right there. Why, look at me. Am I, is that wild or what? You have to admit it is very different. Well, look at the camera. It really went bonkers. So, is this still live? Okay, I guess it is. Wow, I guess not many people enjoyed this. There's only a couple people actually. Wow. I'm wrong. There's a lot of people here. So I don't know why the camera decided to get so funky, but it is. But anyway, decide for yourself. I am left with the fact that I believe that this is, in fact, a combination of all of it. I believe that there are, in fact, other species that are here. I believe that they are existing in multidimensional phases. We can't see them. We can perceive them. We can sense them. Sometimes we can see them. Thank you, Bree. That's a good question. Will you be toxic when you die, or will you be a creation? That's a great. Hello, Lois. How are you doing, dear? Haven't seen you. Cajun Queen Tarot. But anyway, I study this subject, and one thing I know, hell only exists in here. We are our own tormentors. And if we cannot control ourselves, there are plenty of other life forms out there that are more than eager and willing to control us. Now, that's what I believe. I haven't met a demon that has actually stood and fought. I haven't met one. And maybe they are. I haven't found them. I found most of them to be very frightened. They live in a perpetual state of fear. And they feed off of your fear only until you sour the milk. Because when you begin to pull away their fear, they have no force. Their energy becomes depleted, and they will leave you because your polarity sucks the very life out of them. They can't be around you. But if you live in perpetual fear of them, they will literally torment you to no end. So Physics acknowledges that the observer creates the reality. As observers, we are personally involved in the creation of our own reality. That's a fact. Miss V, thank you. That is well stated. And I'm telling you, I don't really think that if you get past the point of being afraid of these things, you got nothing to be afraid of anymore. I have yet to, folks, I know the big ones, you know, I know I know the incantations to call them down. They won't manifest if you're in a position to where you already see yourself superior to them. They don't like that. It's true. Carol says, oh, well, most politicians. Carol, I think you are. I think they sold their souls, to be honest with you. But hey, what do I know? Because you know what? Whether you're on the right, left, or the middle, you watch a politician long enough and you're going to say, that person can't believe in the afterlife of, you know, this construct, heaven or hell, because if they did, then they got brass balls this big. You know, they're like saying, so what? Look at, it's kind of that whole thing that the elites say. The elites say that there are no consequences in the afterlife. There's cause and effect, but not direct causation of something that you did here. Now, I don't know. I don't like karma. I say favor balances karma out. And I think that if you walk in a state of favor, you won't do evil. Maybe I'm just naive. All right, folks. Much love to you all. Thank you. Happy birthday again, Trina. Thank you, David, Barry, Al, all the moderators. Thank you for everyone here. Like child molesting priest. Yeah, 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 exactly. I mean, Gilbert, you got it. And go ahead and show that. Go ahead and prove that. Yeah. Um, they do feed off of, Brian. They do. They feed off your fear. Listen, I'll tell you what broke it for me. When I got pissed off, I don't like bullies. And there used to be a time where, you know, uh, violence never works, but I don't like bullies. And until you confront a bully, you'll always live in that fear. And that's what they do. So they just need to get in line. All right, folks, much love to you. See you tomorrow. Deb, thank you. I have questions because you were so clear. Thank you. No question. Well, thank you, Deb. That's a compliment. I'm humbled by that. Thank you. All of you. I appreciate all of you so much. I love this community. I love this group. And it's just an honor to come here each day and spend an hour together. All right, folks, keep yourself healthy, keep yourself well, and start claiming that authority that you have. That's what I say. All right, I'll see you tomorrow then, folks.